African Union Communications, Early Warning, and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of May 21, 2026, the armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. As a result of intensive actions, units of the North Group of Forces established control over the settlement of Shesterovka in the Kharkiv region. Russian troops hit formations of two mechanized brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade near Velikaya Babka, Granov, Ryasnoye, Staritsa, and Izbitskoye in the Kharkiv region. In the Sumy region, strikes were delivered at the manpower and hardware of a mechanized brigade, an air assault brigade, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade close to Mogritsa, Ivolzhanskoye, Zapsiliye, and Degtyarnoye in the Sumy region. The enemy lost up to 195 troops, 14 motor vehicles, and 1 electronic warfare station. The West Group of Forces took more advantageous lines and positions. The group's units inflicted losses on the manpower and hardware of 3 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, an airmobile brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, a marine brigade, and a territorial defense brigade close to Lesnaya Stenka, Druzhelyubovka, Cherneshchina in the Kharkiv region, Yetskovka, Krasny Liman, Tatyanovka, and Prishib in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to up to 190 troops, 1 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 2 armored vehicles, 24 motor vehicles, and 1 field artillery gun. Units of the South Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Russian troops inflicted losses on 3 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade, an airmobile brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a National Guard brigade near Stenki, Nikonorovka, Rai Alexandrovka, Nikolaevka, Artema, Podolskoye, Alexeyevo-Drushkovka, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 140 troops, 4 U.S.-made HMMWV armored fighting vehicles, 19 motor vehicles, 4 artillery guns, and an electronic warfare station. The center group of forces took more advantageous lines and positions. The group's units inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of a mechanized brigade, a Jaeger brigade, an assault brigade, an airmobile brigade, 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, a marine brigade, and 3 National Guard brigades close to Belozerskoye, Raiskoye, Dobropolye, Belitskoye, Shevchenko, Vasilevka, Novoalexandrovka, Novi Donbass in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novopodgorodnoye in the Dnepropetrovsk region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 300 troops, 3 armored fighting vehicles, 9 motor vehicles, 3 field artillery guns, and 3 electronic warfare stations. The East Group of Forces continued advancing into the depth of enemy defense. Russian troops inflicted damage on formations of a mechanized brigade, 2 air assault brigades, and an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine near Gavrilovka, Katerinovka, Mechetnoye, Zariknoye, Dobropasovo, Velikomikhailovka, Pokrovskoye in the Dnepropetrovsk region, Komsomolskoye, Barvinovka, and Vozdvizhevka in the Zaporozhye region. The armed forces of Ukraine losses amounted to more than 340 troops, 6 infantry fighting vehicles, and 6 motor vehicles. The Dnepr Group's units inflicted losses on units of a mechanized brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade near Grigorovka and Marievka in Zaporozhye region. More than 40 troops, 18 motor vehicles, 2 electronic radio stations, and 2 counterfire warfare stations of the armed forces of Ukraine were neutralized. Operational tactical aviation, attack drones, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian groups of forces inflicted damage on a training center of UAV specialists, fuel and power infrastructure facilities used in interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, ammunition depots, assembly workshops, and storage areas of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles and uncrewed surface vehicles, as well as temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 148 areas. air defense systems shot down 3 guided aerial bombs and 516 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 150,139 unmanned aerial vehicles, 661 anti-aircraft missile systems, 29,399 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,723 MLRS combat vehicles, 35,024 field artillery guns and mortars, 62,155 units of support military vehicles.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.